Good evening, everybody, and welcome to ECISD Live. My name is Scott Murray, and I'm the superintendent of Ector County Independent School District. And it's really a pleasure to welcome each of you to the show this evening. We have an exciting lineup of guests that you're all going to get a chance to meet in a few minutes, and a really timely topic. Attendance is our topic tonight, specifically student attendance within our schools, a challenge that we are facing not only in ECISD today, but across our state and nation. And so we brought in the experts tonight. We're going to unpack attendance. Why does a kid have to go? What does compulsory attendance mean? What are the benefits of being in school? How can we help support and encourage our students to have regular attendance? So sit back and relax as we approach that topic in just a few minutes. But before we get started, I have a few updates for you on things that are happening in ECISD. First update is the number 57. Last week, we celebrated the number 57. And the reason we did that is because we announced publicly that 57% of our kindergartners are now considered kindergarten ready. They are on grade level and ready to engage in the learning process as a 5-year-old. Why are we celebrating? We're celebrating because just 2 years ago, that same number, that same level of kindergarten readiness was at 33%. So in just a few years, just 2 years, we have almost doubled the number of kindergarten students in our environment that are ready. So really an exciting opportunity. We thank our pre-K teachers. ECISD made a significant investment in pre-K. We now have pre-K at both the 4-year-old, we have full day pre-K, as well as 3-year-old pre-K now. We offer that for half a day. And so celebrating our pre-K teachers and the significant work that they've made with our progress they've made with our kids. Also celebrating our board of trustees that have invested deeply in the creation of pre-K. So once again, 57% of ECISD students are now considered kindergarten ready at the age of 5, a huge accomplishment by Team ECISD. We also today had another celebration. We were out at Casabella Park. The city of Odessa dedicated the park today in honor of ECISD's 100th. We're actually 101 now. This started last year, but in honor of our 100th anniversary as a school system. Last summer, we hosted an event at the park, and the city laid out the type of work that was going to happen on the park. Then they engaged our students that live in that community to help them develop the park. Fast forward to today, and we did the unveiling. The ribbon cutting was today, and the kids in that community now have a really great new facility with some brand new equipment and really cool pieces. So we appreciate the city of Odessa for making that, and the Parks and Recreation Department specifically for making that contribution to our community, and more importantly, the children that live. We had a great time. Thursday night of this week, we'll be also having another celebration. We're having a food show. This year, the Child Nutrition Department, that's a part of ECISD, will be sponsoring a food show. It'll take place at the Marriott Hotel here in downtown Odessa. We'll begin at 5:30, and it's an opportunity for students and parents. So moms and dads, your chance to bring your kids for some really great food. Approximately 40 of the food vendors that we use in ECISD will bring their best and share with all of our families the type of foods that we serve in our cafeterias. Again, these vendors, about 40 of them will be there with food in hand, ready to provide services to our families and demonstrate the type of experience our kids have in school cafeterias. So join us. Again, that's Thursday night at 5:30 at the Marriott Hotel here in downtown Odessa. And my last quick announcement relates to the bond. As if you've been watching or reading our recent board meeting agendas, the Board of Trustees for ECISD has decided to once again start the bond process. We recognize as a school system that we continue to grow. We picked up about 2,000 kids from last year to this year. We continue to have buildings that are aging and need replacement. We have significant needs in our career and technical education area, and the list goes on. And we've got to invest in the future of our children. And one way that we do that is through a bond program. The Board of Trustees right now is putting a bond committee together. And so parents, if you are interested, we will be selecting one parent from every school. The parent will represent that school as a part of the bond committee. We'll also be selecting a staff member from every school to once again represent each school in ECISD. We'll also be, our Board of Trustees will be recommending 3 individuals making up our community. And so if you are involved in construction, know a lot about contracting or building large facilities, or perhaps you have financial expertise, those are the types of individuals that we're looking for to once again serve on this bond committee. Again, if you're interested, simply reach out. If you're a campus-based person, reach out to your principal, let your principal know. And if you are interested, more of a community member, you may reach out to any of our trustees and let them know of your interest in serving on that bond committee. We'll be naming that committee during the month of November. All right, attendance. Attendance is a hot topic today for a variety of reasons. In the year 2019, Ector County Independent School District had an attendance rate of a little over 95%, which in the state of Texas is a healthy percentage mark. In fact, in Texas, about approximately 96% of Texas students attend school on a regular basis. Again, the sign of a healthy learning environment. However, the pandemic really changed the way that our students were attending last year in ECISD. In fact, in the 21-22 school year, ECISD had an attendance rate of a little over 90%. And so 5 percentage points lower than what we experienced before the pandemic. And then as we begin this year, our current attendance rate is 91.2%, far below where we should be. And we see that our kids are struggling, our families are struggling for a variety of reasons in ensuring that our children are in school every day. So a couple of interesting statistics that I think are important for all of us to hear as we consider attendance. Did you know that if a student has 3 or more unexcused absences in a 4-week period of time, then we consider that excessive absences. And in fact, we call it truant. So that's, once again, 3 absences in a 4-week period of time is considered truant. Now, the reason for that is because our kids have got to be in school on a regular basis. Over and above that, during a 6-month period of time, if a student misses 10 or more days, once again, during a 6-month period of time, if a child misses 10 or more days, that child is also considered truant. And we have some work to do in ECISD. We have a lot of kids as of October that already fall into that category. And attendance in the state of Texas is compulsory. In other words, it is required that children attend school on a regular basis. And we're going to bring in our first expert right now. Scott Randolph leads our efforts in many areas of ECISD, but one specific area of focus for Scott Randolph and his team is in the area of attendance. Scott oversees our Community Outreach Center and emphasis on outreach. He and his team spend a lot of time reaching out to our families and providing the supports and the services that they need. So Scott, thank you for joining us tonight. It's a pleasure to see you. And I see that you're actually at home in your office tonight. That space. So it's what, a little after 7 and you haven't left the office today. So a busy day for you, Scott. Thanks for being here.
Great
Scott,
to be here.
Tell us a little bit about attendance. So we use the word compulsory. Kids have to be here. What does the law say in Texas about kids attending school?
That's a great question. There's a lot of misconceptions about the laws regarding attendance. So the law says that once you enroll your child in pre-kindergarten, they must continuously go to school until they finish the school year in which they turn 19. Okay, and so the law is real specific. The law says that kids have to be in attendance 90% of the school year. And so there's 2 different laws, one that deals with truancy. And so that is when we're talking about unexcused absences. Yep. And then another law that deals with seat time, that they have to be there 90% of.
So two things. Again, truancy, those unexcused absences. We kind of talked about three or more during a 4-week period of time, and 10 in a school year. But also, on top of that, to your point, you've got to be here 90% of the time, whether the absences are excused or unexcused. You've got to be in your seat, in a sense, 90% of the time. I can see where that could lead to confusion on the part of parents.
Correct. Yeah, especially when parents first start having their children enrolled. So a lot of times when they enroll them in pre-K or kindergarten, they don't fully understand that, hey, once you start the child, they need to be there daily unless they're sick or unless there's a family emergency. So attendance is crucial for the students to stay up academically and to stay on track.
Oh, absolutely. So what are you seeing right now, Scott? I nationally, as I talk to my colleagues in other parts of Texas, as well as across the country, I hear the attendance woes. We're trying to get our kids and families to return to school on a regular basis. What is the local context? What are you seeing in ECISD today?
We are still struggling. It has improved a little bit from where we were last year. A lot of families continue to adjust to getting back into the routine. A lot of times the students stayed home and got comfortable in that, but we've got to get back into school, got to get back into that routine of going daily unless you're really, really sick.
And I know, Scott, you and your team talk to a lot of these families to hear those reasons. What are some of the reasons that you're hearing about kids and a lack of school attendance?
It usually centers around three things. So it's either a problem at home or at school or in the child's personal life. So some of the issues that we see at home center around social type issues. So you may have a family struggling with domestic violence, or you may have a family that has lost their housing, and so now they're moving around a bunch. Sometimes the parents are working long hours and they get home and they're tired and they struggle helping the students with their academics. It could be as simple as families need help with school supplies or clothing or food or some of your basic needs. And then we see problems at school. So a lot of times maybe the kids are having trouble with other students. They're arguing, they're fighting. Could be that they're falling behind academically. That's a common one that we see. Maybe they missed a few days and it's kind of snowballed on them.
Yeah. So what do we do to help? I know your office specifically supports a lot of these kids and families as they deal with these issues. What specifically do you do to support families?
Great question. So we have caseworkers that try to help families, and so they spend a lot of their time out making home visits, reaching out to families that are struggling, trying to remove those barriers to attendance. So, if a family says, hey, the problem is I don't have any uniforms or clothing, or I need school supplies, we can remove those barriers real quickly. Or if it's a family that, a lot of times we will go out on a home visit and we find it's a vacant house. And so we track those families down and we're able to set up the bus pretty quickly, get them to their school. And so a lot of the issues, they need an advocate that's there to help them and to remove those barriers. And that's what the caseworkers do that spend a lot of their times out at the schools and at the homes helping families.
Does your team focus on students or parents? What does that look like, Scott?
And so for the elementary and middle school, they work more with the families. So they are there to try to remove those barriers. At the high school level, we do have staff at the high schools. We have dropout specialists that deal with attendance. We have social workers that try to motivate the kids to come more often. And so the younger ones, we're dealing more with the parents. And as they get older, we deal more with the students.
Okay, good. Hey, thank you, Scott. I know that the work that you do is critical. There are kids that are attending school today because of the work of you and your team. And so thank you. And please express our gratitude to the rest of your teammates. It's important. Kids have got to be in school, and sometimes our families need the support that you and your team provide. So thank you for being with us tonight.
Thank you.
Shifting a little bit to the school. And so Scott and his team provide those supports to students and their families from a big picture perspective. They receive referrals from our counselors, referrals from social workers and others, so they support the family unit. But I want to talk specifically to a couple of leaders at the campus level. So we have joining us tonight, Maribel Aranda and Angela Bizel Smith, representing Crockett Middle School and Permian High School. And they're going to share with us a little bit about the work that they do to support kids that may be struggling. But a couple of statistics, I think, before we bring them in. And really, did you know that a student that is in school every day typically has better grades? They perform better not only in the moment, but also in the future. They develop healthier habits, healthy self-esteem. They develop a sense of self-discipline, self-worth. Again, all of those are tied to healthy student attendance. Poor attendance influences whether a child reads proficiently by the end of third grade, pre-K, kindergarten, first and second grade. Those grade levels build foundational skills with children, the foundation of reading and writing, the foundation of math as well. And when kids are not attending school regularly, during especially those early grades, it affects them for the rest of their academic career. So every single day during those early years is especially critical. By sixth grade, chronic attendance becomes a leading indicator that a student will drop out of high school. Think about that. By sixth grade, if we're already seeing chronic attendance issues, that's a leading indicator. In other words, an important indicator that child is headed for potentially dropping out of high school. Just 2 days a month, 18 days a year is equivalent to missing 10% of the school year. That's why when we consider 18 days of absence in a year, that child is truant because you've missed more than 10% of the school year. So we pay attention to that. Pre-K students, sometimes our families think pre-K is less important, but pre-K students who missed too much of school do not develop reading skills, math skills, or social emotional skills at the level of their peers. And again, that starts at the age of 3. And so moms and dads, attendance is critically important at every level. And so Maribel and Angela, if you would join us, and I want to ask you a couple of questions about your support. First of all, thank you, ladies, for being here tonight. I'm sure you have nothing else to do on a Tuesday night other than talk about attendance. But I know both of you at Crockett and at Permian give great support to kids that are struggling. Maribel, let's start with you at the middle school level. When you see kids struggling with attendance, what are some ways that you support students on your campus?
So when we noticed a kid was out, maybe just 2 days even. So the first thing that we do is I ask my teachers to go ahead and make contact and see what's going on. And then we may find out that they may need this or that or whatever. So we give them the resources that they may need. Sometimes the kids, if they miss a lot of school, they feel that they can't make up the work or whatever. So we just have to assure them that we do have time to catch you up. That of course we offer tutoring morning, sometimes during lunches, some teachers during lunch, after school. We offer tutoring, and we even offer transportation home. So like that, if the parent cannot pick them up after school, our bus takes them to their home. So we certainly try to keep communication with the parents open, so they know that them being here is important. And if there's a reason that they're not here, we want to help them and get to school so they don't miss any more school.
Yeah, you made a good point, and I think that's important for families to know. Sometimes there are occasions in which a child does need to miss, but you offer those opportunities to make up the time and the work, and whether that's during the day or after hours. I heard you say you provide transportation. So if that child needs to be after school to work with a teacher or team of teachers, they have transportation home, and the parent doesn't have to worry about that.
Yes, sir.
That's healthy. Angela, high school level. So Permian High School, you serve 4,000 kids and I know you have some truancy issues there as well. What are ways that you support students in their healthy attendance?
Well, we kind of do the same thing as far as like to do at the elementary level. We reach out to the student first. We find the student here on campus, kind of bring him in and try to get some feedback as to what are some of the concerns as far as attendance, like maybe home issues or issues here at school, or just things going on in life in general. And we bring the students in, have that conversation, and then we try to find the proper resources for the students to be able to come on a daily basis and be effective in the classroom, because we do express the importance of being here and on campus and in the classroom. Another thing that we've known to do is bring the parents in as well, have that conversation. And normally collaborating with the parents, we've been successful as far as coming to finding that root cause of the problem, as far as the students, as far as meeting the needs of all of our students here on campus, and try to get the proper resources, whether it's transportation, clothing, jobs, just whatever the situation may be. We try to take care of it here on campus to meet the needs to get the students here in class.
What are some common things that you hear as you engage in conversation, Angela, with these kids? What are high school kids telling you as their reasons?
A lot of the reasons that we have now is just feeling anxiety and trying to fit in, because of the pandemic. The students are struggling a little bit as far as just trying to fit in and trying to find their way back, because it's been a while before they were in school. And so we offer those resources. We have social workers here on campus. We have SAS counselors that we refer them out to. And it's been quite of a challenge, but at the same time, the students are being receptive and starting to come a little bit more and engaging in the things that we have here. Another thing is, for the social emotional part, we've also offered other organizations as far as getting them into clubs and groups and athletics, trying to help them engage and connect with the campus in order to feel successful, to be able to come every day and feel like there's something to look forward to.
Yeah, what you said at the end, I think, is important. We all, even as adults, we all need to feel connected to something. And right now at Permian High School, right outside your doors, there are a lot of things going on. Same thing at Crockett. Maribel, you have a band concert going on in your gymnasium at this very moment. And so those activities that engage kids certainly help them attend school regularly and remain excited about opportunities at school, for sure. Maribel, kind of back to you. Angela mentioned that they at Permian, they've seen some of the effect of the pandemic, from a social emotional perspective on their kids. Have you seen any of that with middle school kids?
We have. Our attendance is not what it used to be either. So sometimes we talk to kids and we talk to parents, and sometimes they don't want to be here. I think, like she mentioned, is they got used to being at home. So being here is sometimes an issue. They don't want to be on campus. They want to be homeschooled, or they want to be at home. So it's just trying to acclimate them back into a social environment where they can learn is what is key and is important for us. So we do refer them to counselors if needed, or we have communities in service. We have our SAS counselors. We have different people that gives them coping skills if needed, or the importance of being in school, because if they're not here, they're not learning, and the gap gets bigger, and sometimes it becomes frustrational because they don't understand, or they're way behind. So we encourage them to be here as much as possible, because when you miss one day, it's hard to make up that time sometimes, and so it's important that they're here.
Oh, absolutely. Critically important every day. Angela, back to you for a question. The student that is credit short. So I'm making my way through high school, but I've fallen behind. I'm multiple credits short of graduation. I am struggling academically. What are the ways that a kid could catch back up and get on, kind of return, if you will, to their cohort so they could graduate on time? How does Permian support a student like that?
Right. Well, first we bring the student in, and we review the transcript with the student and kind of try to find some solutions as far as getting caught up with the cohort. whether that means going to tutoring to pick up the grades. And we also offer credit recovery, which is Edgenuity. The students are given the opportunity to come and take those courses that they may have failed in the past or they need in order to graduate, and maybe because of attendance or whatever the issue may be. But we offer those resources for the students to catch up and be able to graduate with their cohort.
My parents need me to work. I have to have a job, and school and job just don't fit together. Angela, what's your response to that scenario?
In that situation, we've had a lot of that. That's been another one of our main issues that we face is the students wanting to go work. So we try to find that balance. You know, some of our juniors and seniors are able to go and work towards the end of the day. So we kind of put them maybe possible 0 hour or trying to find ways to help, help the student find that balance as far as being able to work and go to school at the same time.
Yep. And so I want to point out to our families tonight, one common thread that both of you talked about, regardless of the concern that was expressed by the student or the parent, is you bring the child in, you bring the family in. And I think that's powerful. While we may offer excuses and reasons not to attend school, both of you, it's about talking with the child, talking with the family, and getting to yes, figuring out a solution, a way that we can ensure the child is attending school, and at the same time make sure that whatever their needs are, that their needs are met. That happens at 44 schools in ECISD, whether elementary, middle school, or high school. We're hearing from 2 administrators tonight that I think carry the message and the philosophy of all of our administrators. If a child is struggling, whether academically, socially, emotionally, behaviorally, or financially, there are ways that we can work with the child and the family and get to yes, so that we can ensure attendance. So ladies, thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for, no matter what the excuse is or the reason, always being willing to bring them in and engage in a conversation and figuring out how to make it work for that kid. So I appreciate you both. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So one of the elements that you heard both of these administrators talk about was really the social emotional side. And certainly there are financial reasons that especially a high school kid may not attend school, or there may be some academic reasons kids are struggling. But when it comes to what the pandemic has done for our children, their mental health, their social emotional challenges they're facing, we know that today that is very real in the lives of some of our kids and families. And we've certainly seen that escalate. Some statistics I think are interesting. Being in school every day, a child can avoid dangerous behavior. And so by being in school with positive role models in a positive and healthy environment, our kids can avoid dangerous situations that may occur in the community. A child learns how to be cooperative in a school environment. From the age of 3 and 4, our kids are learning how to collaborate. They're learning how to work with other individuals. Socialization skills are enhanced and encouraged in that environment. And so for a variety of reasons, strong relationships with teachers happen in daily attendance. We know as educators that when a teacher and a student have a healthy relationship, good things happen for those kids. And so those relationships are critical. But all of those elements are tied to healthy school attendance. And tonight, we are joined by 2 individuals that support our students as they deal with mental health challenges and the struggles that some of our kids and families have. And so Krista Ziegler and Becky Rhodes are going to join us tonight. And Krista is our new Director of Guidance and Counseling, again, overseeing the services and supports that we provide from a guidance and counseling perspective. And then Becky Rhodes, many of you have met before. She oversees our nursing and health services. Becky was really popular during COVID for a very different reason. And so, ladies, we appreciate you being here tonight, and just the way that you and your team support and nurture our children is appreciated. And so, Krista, I want to start with you tonight. We heard our administrators and even Scott talk about some of the social emotional impact that our kids have felt through the pandemic. First of all, let's start with what are you seeing? What are our counselors and social workers seeing from a behavioral perspective among our students right now?
We're seeing, the same with the COVID. The students have been, excuse me, at home, excuse me, learning from home. And it's been a transition for them, and so they don't want to be at school, and then attendance becomes an issue. And so our counselors are making contact with the students, what resources can we give to our students and families so that way they are at school.
Yeah. Have you all seen, and again, you're new to the position, but are we seeing more today than we saw 3 years ago from a social emotional perspective? We're seeing more challenges?
Yes, we do. We do see a lot of challenges, and it's a transition when being at home, or even being in a school, with a lot of students in the schools, like you said, we have 2,000 more kiddos, coming to school. So that's hard for everyone. They weren't used to that for a couple of years.
Absolutely. So. I had a conversation this morning with a group of medical professionals in our community. And it was kind of an aha for me. Many of our kids were in their bedrooms for 2 years by themselves. And now suddenly they're back on a campus and being touched in the hallway by other kids. I had plenty of space, but now people are invading my space. And for some of our kids, that is a challenge, mentally, to come back and have so many people so close to you, kind of in your space perspective. Have our counselors been dealing with that in our schools?
Yes, we are seeing that, and so we are providing, like the guidance curriculum to help the students, with coping skills as far as like, coming back into the school environment, being face to face, and those interpersonal skills, interpersonal skills as well. Those social skills again, because we were in a room. In virtual learning, now we're in a classroom, with 20 plus kids. So it is different.
Oh, absolutely it is. Becky, from a medical perspective, our nurses support kids every day and the medical challenges that they face. Have your nurses or have you seen some lingering medical effects from the pandemic and COVID specifically that is affecting attendance?
Yes, we've seen a lot of anxiety, like we've talked about. Lots of kids will come in with common complaints of headaches, tummy aches, but there's no real cause for it. So thinking it's more anxiety. Lots of concerns about getting sick and that type of thing.
Let's talk about that kid that comes in. So I have a stomach ache and I'm not feeling well. And so I go to the nurse. Walk me through that scenario. And at what point is a mom or dad engaged in that kind of conversation?
Usually it's if we start seeing a pattern, like if we start seeing this kid, okay, they're coming in regularly, or they're coming in during a certain class period, or there's something going on within a certain class or certain situation that may be triggering for the student. So we're looking for patterns and reoccurrences, or a child maybe acting a little bit differently than what we already know them as.
Yeah. So interesting. That really is tied to the relationship. So the relationships that our nurses have with our students is important because you can pick up on those behaviors that may be a bit abnormal or those behaviors that are patterned, as you say. That's interesting. Becky, you mentioned anxiety. And so if a nurse detects anxiety on the part of a kid, when I think anxiety, I don't necessarily think of a nurse, I think of a counselor. And so what is the relationship between what a nurse might see and what a counselor might see?
We typically might see more of the physical manifestations or the physical symptoms that occur. And then we can guide them to the right people or the right types of treatment.
Okay. So you would see the medical side of anxiety and then refer perhaps to the office down the hall, which is the
Right.
guidance counselor at the school
Right.
to kind of pick
Right.
it up. So Krista, pick that up for us. One of your counselors receives kind of notification from a nurse that a child may be struggling with anxiety. Walk me through how a school counselor or an SAS counselor would support a child having anxiety issues about attending school.
The counselors would meet with the student individually, and this is where the individual counseling would come in, try to see what's going on, if it's whether it's at school, something going on at home, that they're not wanting to be a part of the school. And so that's where the counselor would step in and help out, and then provide resources if needed to the student or family, dependent on the situation.
Good. What about the opposite? Are there any situations in which a counselor would refer to the nurse? Does it work that way?
Yes. If we saw that a student comes in, they're sick, we see that, they're not maybe being taken care of, come in sick, constantly, then yes, that's when we would, refer to the nurse to see kind of, okay, what's going on here? How can we help this student?
I'm going to ask you both for some words of wisdom. And so we have parents watching tonight, and they may be struggling. Perhaps their child is dealing with some anxiety issues, or just they don't want to go to school for whatever reason. But it's perhaps a mental health issue. Becky, I want to start with you. What piece of wisdom might you give to a parent that is struggling to get their child to come into the school doors?
I would say listen to your kiddo. You're going to know them better than anybody else, and try to really get them to open up and just be willing to talk. And sometimes that's harder to do, easier said than done.
Sure.
But yeah, no, just really listening and trying to figure out maybe what the root cause is so that we can overcome that.
Can a parent reach out to the school nurse for some guidance or information, Becky?
Oh yeah, we're very open. All of our staff wants to help and make sure that our kids are healthy and ready to learn, and want our kiddos in class.
Absolutely. Krista, same thing for you. Parents struggling to get their child to school. What words of wisdom might you offer?
Just expressing the importance of being at school, what the school is providing for the student, not just academically, but, socially. And we want them to feel connected and be a part of the school community.
Yep. I'm glad you emphasized that. We often think school is reading, writing, and arithmetic, and the academic side of our work is primary. But you mentioned the social emotional pieces. Socialization for many of our kids happens at school. And so for parents, to your point, to encourage that and to see school as a way to help their kids develop, and in some cases redevelop those social skills, is critically important. Krista, how does a parent contact a guidance counselor just for some words of wisdom or support with their own child?
Usually on the school's website, contact numbers on there for them, and they would just reach out to them. Also an email, and I know our school counselors, are willing to work with the parents. We have community partners, that can help as well.
Great, good. All right, thanks, ladies. I appreciate you being here, and I want to emphasize to our families again. You heard, the head of our nursing program, the head of our counseling program, both talk about the fact that our doors are open. And so, mom and dad, if you're struggling with your child tonight, you're struggling to get them to school, these two ladies represent teams of people that are here to support. Reach out to your child's school, ask to speak with the nurse, ask to speak with the counselor, share with them your concern, and we're here to help. It's important to us that your kids are in school every day, and we know it's important to you as well. So once again, ladies, thanks for being here tonight and representing the teams that you serve. Well done.
Thank you.
So Another reason kids attend school is because it is highly engaging. There is a lot to do at school that prepares us for the future. Investment in education today allows kids tomorrow to experience a lot of success. And certainly, if kids are not engaged in the learning process, life can be challenging. And you see that here, kids that do not attend school. I mean, think about some of these. Kids that do not attend school are less likely or are more likely to live in poverty. So good school attendance means that you are less likely to live in poverty. More opportunities are available in a post-secondary world for kids that are attending school regularly. More opportunities to earn a higher income for those students that are attending school regularly. More opportunities for civic engagement. We mentioned at our opening tonight that we're searching for individuals to serve on a bond committee. That is civic engagement. More opportunities are available to kids when you're attending school. You learn how to be more civically engaged as an adult. Kids that attend school regularly more likely, again, to attend college or have that experience. And this was an interesting one. Students that attend school regularly are more likely to live longer, live a healthier life, live a longer life. All good reasons to attend school on a regular basis. Our next guest tonight is Anna Lee is going to join us, and she has a very powerful story. So Anna Lee Tarango, she has joined our team recently. Her title, she oversees really our parent engagement. So she is a community engagement specialist for ECISD, and so works with our family, them engage in the learning process, to volunteer, to become a part of PTA or fully engage in school. And so Anna Lee, thank you for being on the show tonight. We appreciate you.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
And your job, why don't you just briefly, what is your role in ECISD? What do you do?
Okay, so my title is Parent and Community Engagement Specialist, as you mentioned. So my job is to be more engaged with the families, whether through parenting courses. We have several of the courses that we are teaching through parenting partners, or we do mental health. We do math sessions, just anything that has to do with engaging the family and the community.
Great. And that's an important body of work. Tonight we're talking specifically about attendance.
Yes.
And many times moms and dads are a critical element of a child's attendance. So we want them to be engaged. So thank you for joining the team and supporting our moms and dads as they become engaged in the education of their children. You have a very powerful story about attendance and yourself as a student moving through high school. You are clearly a successful individual today, but if we look back at some of these statistics, you are not headed in this direction. And so I'd love, if you don't mind, for you to share your story with us.
No, not at all. So I wasn't raised with either mom or dad. I was raised with my grandmother, which had 11 children, and there was not very much support in my family for that, or education. So I was supposed to be graduating in 2004 from Odessa High School, and unfortunately, my grandmother, who was raising me, got leukemia, and a little bit before I actually dropped out, I was having to attend to her and many of her needs, and just helping her in anything that I could while trying to graduate and all of that. Well, in my junior year, I dropped out of high school because she got diagnosed with leukemia, and I stopped going just to take care of her. And I said, I'm just gonna focus on that later. I need to take care of my grandmother. So it was in 2003 when I dropped out, and it took me 5 years to decide and have the courage within myself to say, like, I need to do something with my life. I can't not continue to work from restaurant to restaurant and just small little jobs here and there. And so I decided to go get my GED in 2008. And that same year, I decided to join Odessa College. And as I was pursuing my associates in psychology, and I dropped out again, had several semesters that I would enroll in classes and just completely drop out. At some point in time, my GPA was a 0.74. And for many times, I wouldn't tell anybody anything about that because it was so embarrassing to me.
Yeah.
That 0.74, I would think like, oh my goodness, that's less than a 1. Am I really capable? Like, why? I know I could do better than that. So I decided to motivate myself to say, like, this is not what I'm about. I need to do something about this. And so I finally, in 2016, I graduated with 3 associates from Odessa College, 1 in psychology, sociology, and general studies. And so at that same time, I had gotten accepted into UTPB for my bachelor's in psychology, and I made a goal for myself. My daughter had just been born at that same year when I graduated, and I said, I need to finish my bachelor's before my daughter turns 2, because we all know the older they get, a little bit more difficult it gets. So I was taking full load classes, 14 to 15 credit hours a semester while having to raise a little baby. And talk about struggles. It has been a roller coaster, but here I am. I graduated with my bachelor's in 2018. And from there, I gave myself a couple of years of break, and now am in the middle of getting my master's degree. Originally, I felt like because of my story, I wanted to be a counselor and a therapist, to be there for the students or families that I needed to be for. But I couldn't do, after 4 years of working full time and going to school, I just decided to change my major at this time. But maybe in the future, I will become a therapist. But for right now, I love where I'm at, and I'm glad that I decided and went through all the struggles that I went through, because I wouldn't be where I'm at now.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a powerful story. And I think when we look back at the statistics, you were headed in that ugly direction, dropped out, lack of attendance, you are that statistic.
Yes.
But at some point you clicked and, you reversed course, and you are the success that you are today. And so first, congratulations.
Thank you.
On your accomplishments. You overcame the odds. And so that good for you. Good for you. Great example for students that sometimes feel defeated or feel like they can't.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. But man, the road would have been much easier, if decisions had been different. And so I think, another lesson for our kids, and I think that's one reason you support our families today, is, get your kids in school on a regular basis so that the struggles of life don't have to be felt by everyone. You're lucky to be where you are. It's your hard work, your grit, your determination certainly made that happen. But we got to get our kids in school. So thanks for sharing your story.
Yes.
Anna Lee, before we depart with you, just same thing, your words of wisdom. You have a good story, but as you're dealing with families and parents who may be struggling with their own children to attend school, what words of wisdom would you give to them?
To never give up. Even when you think it's really bad, there's always someone that has it worse than you, and you can overcome any challenge that comes your way. We have to keep going, no matter the roadblocks that come in between us. We have to just keep going and not give up. And just to know that there's a lot of supportive resources out there now that there were not when I was in school. And so that's what makes it even better, that we are able to be there for a resource, or share our own stories with somebody that's going through a difficult time.
Yeah, good stuff. So we appreciate you joining us tonight, and again, sharing your story. Very powerful and certainly meaningful for many of our kids and families.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, and finally tonight, why is school attendance important? I think school is an amazing place to be. There are a plethora of really cool experiences in ECISD at the elementary level, the middle school level, the high school level, that give kids exceptional experiences. And we couldn't capture that in words tonight, but we've tried to capture it in a video. And so school is cool. Need proof? Watch this.
Oh.
Just awesome. School is cool. School is the place to be. We have 44 schools in ECISD serving 33,500 students. And each of those kids deserves an opportunity to have that kind of experience every single day. Moms and dads, if you're struggling getting your kids to school, please reach out to us. You heard tonight from school administrators to our teachers, to our counselors, to our nurses, to our parent support specialists. Every member of Team ECISD is here to help you ensure that your kids are with us 180 days a year. Thank you for joining us tonight. My name is Scott Murray, very proud to be the superintendent of Ector County Independent School District. Have a good night.